All right, we're back Thursday for Corbellic live stream. We're going to be painting today. We're going to be talking. We're going to be having a good time like we always do, but we're back. I know that you're back. You're probably already in the studio. You're already being productive. You already woke up early, so that way you could get started on your painting, either if you had to work your job or whatever you have going on in the day. That way you could paint before you go to work and then you could have your structure plan afterwards. All right. So that's what we're all about. And it's a great thing. So I'm happy that you're here. I'm really excited about today's topic that we're going to have. We're going to continue talking about more about the dark secrets of money, all right? About how to bring generational wealth to you, some of the things that I've learned, some of the things that I had to pay for in courses, and that way I can share the wealth and I can bring it on to you. But I'm so excited about it. It had me thinking last night. I like wrote out a book really kind of, and I'm going to end up sharing it to the elite community. So if you're not already part of the elite community, you're going to miss out. I'm going to share it on there about everything just broken down, and then you could just digest it slowly when you want. You could print it out, and that way you can have some of these chapters and some of these things into yourself or implement it into your life. I'll put it into the elite community, but then I'm going to make some whiteboard videos talking about it. I'm going to release it on YouTube slowly, like piece by piece at a time. I mean, because these are really great things, and these are things that really, I mean, it's like yesterday I could talk about it, but it's kind of hard for me to digest it and really go into it, especially when I'm painting at the same time. So I had to do a part two today so that I could continue on about this great conversation. And there's just so much more information. So I was just thinking about different things yesterday, and I was like, man, I should have shared this point and I should have talked about that, but I can have a little bit more concise thought today and different things of what I want to share with you. So I hope you're doing good. We're going to get some cool paintings out today. I'm going to knock out I'm going to be doing some more cubisms today because I feel like doing cubisms. I'm going to be focusing on 16 by 20s. And yeah, that's what we're going to do. I am going to get off within like 2 hours, an hour and a half or something like that, because I have two coaching meetings today, one-on-ones after, and then I have to prepare for those, and then I have to do some other videos and prepare other things also for the community, for the lessons. So let's see who we have in here. All right, let's see who we have. It looks like we have everybody in here. We have the whole crew in here. That's cool. Jaden Hunter, The Sweet Life. We got Peter. We got Nancy. 7173 Best. We got Lee. We got AZ Lady. We got Brian. All right, that's awesome. Let's see here. Let's see here. All right. And also, you can see there I got my super chat back, but also what you can see as well is that I apologize. But you can also see in there too, I have a new members only section in there. So that way you can get more content. That way I can provide just content for members that's in the YouTube. So I have a members only. It starts at like $2 and then it goes up and then you get more information. So that way I can really just do my information dump on YouTube, right? Like I could just release so much information. You know how I like to do. I treat life, I treat business the same way how I treat eBay. Like I just show up, I work 10, 12-hour days, and I produce so much content. That's the problem that I have at times. It's like I produce so much content and I produce so much information that it's too much to digest. It's kind of like drinking a water, or it's kind of like drinking from a fire hose. So I have to do it this way with the member section, so that way I could also have so much information that's over there, but then also information that's on the regular side. Even in the course, there's just so much information that I always like to inject in there, where I'm always like that. And the problem with YouTube at times with me is that I have to space out the information. So here in a day, it's easy for me where I could just pump out like 10 videos, it's easy for me to do that. But YouTube's algorithm's like, no, you can't do that because there's only enough bandwidth on the view space of people to view it and don't want your videos to get lost in the algo. But how I look at it like, syndicated, right? Where it's like, it doesn't matter. Eventually, these things are going to be binge watched and they're going to be looked at as reruns where people can eventually find the information, but it just becomes too much. I'm a workhorse around here, so I work more than what YouTube is about. All right, morning. So, all right, we got everybody here. Are we good? The sound is good. Sound is good. Quality's good. All right, everything is good. Let's get this going right now. Let's get this going to the first painting. And this is going to be a beautiful Cubism woman, as I said. She's going to be beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful. Look at this. Let me do that. Boom. There she is right there. All right. We got pretty Doc AJ in here. We got old times, nostalgia. All right. Let's do this. Let's get this painting going, and we can get this topic going. Yesterday, what I forgot to talk about yesterday when I talked about the money seekers is I also forgot to say what Rockefeller said. Rockefeller said that ever since he was a child, he gave it away. He gave it away because he understood the universal laws of money and wealth, and that's how he brought it back to himself. So that's one of his things that he would always say is that ever since he was a child, he gave it away. He gave it away. And a lot of people who are like that as well, even like oil tycoons. I mean, like I said, what was the famous quote from Anne Frank was that you'll never meet a poor person who gave. Thank you, Jada Hunter. I greatly appreciate you for the super chat. That's what we're talking about. Shows the love right there. That's what it's about. I greatly appreciate that. That goes a long way. That goes a long way. All right, let's do this painting. Let's close this off. Boom, bam, boom. See anybody else, they would see a painting like this and it would be like, oh, it's going to take me forever to do. I'm going to work on it forever. I'm going to spend my life on it. See, I figured out ways how to do this so fast. I figured out ways how to do these type of cubisms so fast. And they're my favorite type of paintings. You're not late. You're not late. Blessed Art Studio. Happy that you're here. Morning. You're not late at all. You're right on time. Our first painting. And me, when I look at paintings that are supposed to be complicated or supposed to be like, there's a lot to it, I always think to myself that, now that's easy. I'm gonna take care of it. Jay Hunter said, I said yesterday I would hook you up today, and you kept your word. I appreciate you. You're following the principles of giving back. But here's the kicker though. Like, I appreciate you giving back, but the real key principles of what we were talking about yesterday, and I'm going to reiterate these things. I need to reiterate them as much as possible, is that what they also taught is that the real blessing is giving back and no one knows about it. Because the one who does know about it is God. So those are even stronger blessings, like when you could give back and no one knows about it. Energetic, we're going to call it energetic parasites. Energetic parasites, they feed off of anxiety. And the anxiety usually comes from scarcity, of not having. It's not enough. Those are energetic parasites. We all have energetic parasites that try to get in our way. And it comes from scarcity. It comes from the lack of. We always say in art, trust the process. We always say trust the process when it comes to art, right? But it even goes deeper than that because you have to trust the process when you give and forget. You have to be willing to give and forget. And that's trusting the process. Like we were saying yesterday, Rolex, the company, they gave away all profit. And some people say, "Oh, well, it's for tax reasons." It's not for tax reasons. Anonymous giving versus public giving. The energy circuit closes versus when it stays open. They understand this. These are old teachings from centuries that are passed down. There's a thing called the flow factor, and the flow factor is obsessing over outcome, but that blocks your flow. You can't obsess over outcome. That's why I always talk about in our community where you can't control the market. A lot of these things that I say, they may sound simple or it's related towards just eBay, but a lot of it is reverted towards art in general. These are things that I've learned about life. But also I when from doing so much art and doing so much life, I see that they went hand in hand and they coincide with each other. You can't obsess over the outcome or you're going to block your flow, and then the energy parasites are going to feed off of that. You have to give and forget. Yesterday I talked about how the ultra rich, they use sacrifices, but they use sacrifices such as they'll go to a ranch, a farm, they'll go to a butcher, and then they get together and they sacrifice either goats or cattle. They do things like that, and then there are blessings that come back. But the thing is, some of those could be based off of also those are old as the beginning as man. Those are dark rituals. And you could use light rituals instead. You could think about things in your life that you could sacrifice that you have to give back without, having to feed a deity of sacrifice of life. You could do things in your life. What I do is like I'll sacrifice so many art paintings that I don't think about, and then that also gives back. I'll sacrifice time. Um, I'll sacrifice things that I feel like either there's a chapter in my life where things that either served its purpose or is part of the season, and I'll get rid of those things completely. But you have to sacrifice things. These are the things that give back as well. That's why when people always say, "Oh, the billionaires, the whatever, they're part of a secret society and they do dark stuff." Yeah, they do, but they also don't look at it that way, and they're right because a lot of these things were actually practiced within the Egyptians, but then they got hijacked and they started using some of this knowledge for dark reasons, and then all of a sudden it became that this knowledge is dark knowledge when it's not, and there's ways that you could turn it into light. There's a thing called cursed money versus clean money. And entities create synchronicities. I'm just going to go a little bit lighter in some parts of her face because you can see where I already put like the flesh tone. That's already most of the canvas right now. So that means like when I did the flesh tone, that's most of the canvas right now. I don't have to go into the canvas and do too much. I don't have to do too much later on. Like it's pretty simple from here. Like only thing I have to do now is just like certain layers. This is what makes painting with the projector so easy and so beautiful, is that we get to see the layers already, and I can paint over the layers. You see? Like I could paint over the layers without compromising the parts. See, anybody else who would do this, they would try to like be too pretty, because they would either use a line or they would use, and they would have to go, no, I don't want to paint over that. Like with the projector, we don't have to worry about what we're painting over per se. Let's see here. Says I've been deep diving into the Kabbalah, and it says the same thing about the channels of blessing. You restrict your blessings when you close off your giving. Exactly. Usually it's broke people who be like, they want to hold on to it and they feel like they could make more money by holding on to it, but you can't. You have to give it away. And these are things that are really simple teachings, but just think about it. They don't teach this to society. They don't teach it. And a lot of this stuff is biblical, actually, of what I'm talking about, but we hear it all the time, and we've heard it as children, but we don't think anything about it. You know, it just goes in one ear and out the other. We don't really sincerely think about the blessings and the lessons of it. A lot of these blessings or these teachings are biblical. Give and you will receive. I think it was Matthew chapter 6. The left hand shouldn't know what the right hand is doing, and then you will receive, you will get the blessings. There's always a balance. That's why there's a yin and there's a yang. The universe must balance the energy. Just like we can't explain what gravity is, there's universal laws that we can't explain either. It's what we were talking about yesterday. Now, another big thing that I talk about, and I know you hear me talk about it, but this is a very big one, and a lot of people can't practice it. And it's the power of silence. Now, I say it from a standpoint at times where it's like we're talking about friends, family, coworkers, or even like you can do. That's why I say it's so powerful that you can do eBay and you can be successful without anybody knowing about it. You don't need social media. I didn't use social media when I sold 17,000 paintings. I didn't use it at all. The more that I was using social media, the more broke that I was. But I looked good on paper. The power of silence. Talking about your goal, it kills them. It's a dopamine hit. And your brain can't understand the difference between you actually accomplishing your goals and you doing the goal. So your brain is just naturally going to reward itself. You're going to reward yourself because you talked about it. And you're going to have people in your family. What are they supposed to say? You're going to have some people who are like in your face. Wow, that's great news. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, that's awesome, Mom. That's awesome, Dad. That's great. What are they supposed to say? And then by you talking about it like that, your brain, and it doesn't matter what you tell yourself consciously, subconsciously, you can't fight that. Your brain is more powerful than you. Your brain is going to already think, well, you already received the rewards from your family, and your friends. They just praised your goal of whatever you're going to do. And it doesn't understand the difference between you actually now having to show up to work. Now there's more pressure on you to work. And your brain is going to be like, what's the point? I've already received the dopamine hit from people praising me. There's two different types of people out there. There's people who think that you can. There's two different types of people out there. There's people out there who think that you can just work, and that's it. Just work, and then you'll be successful. And they're wrong. And then there's people out there who also think that, oh, only thing I got to do is give affirmations to a mirror, and I could just manifest on it, and it'll come to me. And they're wrong as well. There's a balance that you have to find, but when you talk about it, your brain your brain is not going to want to commit to the work at hand. I've been there plenty of times. And a lot of times it's weird too, because if you've been in these situations before, you could swear that it's like, you could feel that it's universal. You'll be like, for some reason, this feels universal, like the universe is up against me all of a sudden. Like I was doing good. How come I was doing good until I told this person? How come my plan was good? How come my business was doing better or things were going good until I told my mom about my business, or I told my wife about something, or my coworker? How come all of a sudden? And the thing is, people who smile in your face, or people who whatever, they don't even have to. Even the people who smile in your face, or who don't, or they don't even have to say anything to you. The universal energy that they even put out there behind your back can affect your business, can affect you. And it's even deeper too, on a conscious level, where I would tell people, at times with humans, that sometimes it's not when you do become successful in the thing and you haven't told them, and then you finally tell them, they're not mad that you didn't tell them. They're mad because you didn't give them enough ample time to affect your energy on the success, and them having an effect on the success rate. They understand consciously that they could have had a role in you not believing in yourself, or your business not taking off the way that it should. So be careful how you talk about the goals, because the universe is listening. There's universal laws when it comes to that. One of my favorite things that I've learned as a young man, and I told this story before, because for me, I didn't understand. I was light years away from understanding the universal laws of money and any of this stuff. I'm a broke young man, but I knew when I heard this, I was watching a documentary. I knew it made sense to me, and this was of. I was watching a music documentary of Muddy Waters, and he's like a blues singer, for those who don't know. But he would say that he learned in his success, for him to become successful, he said there would be at times where he wanted to tell his wife something. He would want to tell his brother something, his sister something. And he said he learned that in time not to say anything, and then that's how he got his blessings. So he said he formed a habit where he would tap his lips. He said he would always tap his lips, and people would wonder why he tapped his lips. And he said the reason that he tapped his lips, because he always had good news to say. He always wanted to say what's going on, but then he learned from universal law to tap his lips, to keep it in, to not say it. Because once you say it, it doesn't happen. So when we're talking about that, we're also talking about it's human nature, right? Like I said, a lot of these things are biblical. So what's also biblical is that envy, jealousy, hate. How many times has a human said to you in front of you that, hey, you know what? I'm a hater. I'm so jealous. Oh, I'm just filled with envy. How many times has somebody actually said that, been honest and said that? What, a few times in your life? A very small percentage, you know? But these things are inside of all of us. It's inside of me. I want to be successful. I want to be more successful than the next person. I'm honest about it. I've always felt like that. I hate it about me. But whatever, it is what it is. We have to know that these energies are inside of us. But that way also we have to be careful in how we speak to around other people with our success and with our goals. And it's not like these people don't love us. It's just that they're naturally human. And when you're human, we're born into sin, so we are sinners and we have these thoughts of sin. So it's just natural where the energy of jealousy can also affect your business. It could also affect you. It's not that you don't want to tell these people great things that are happening. That's just being selfish of them, I think. That's how I look at it. You're being selfish. If someone cares that I didn't tell them whatever the success thing is first, you don't care about my success then. You're being selfish. You're making it about you. And it's not about you. It's about you. And it's hard to explain that. And you know what? That's the thing that sucks too. If you come from generational curses or generational broken people, and not even financial broken people. When we talk about broke people, we always talk about mindset. But when you come from that, or I mean, most people have people like we all have people like that that's in our family, and it's hard to explain to them. Well, it's not about that. It's about the universal. Like try to say this to people like that, right? Like your family or somebody, where it's like it's not even about you. It's about universal laws of success. Is why I didn't tell you. You think they would listen to you on that? You think they would understand what you're talking about? Hell no. And then you say stuff like that, they're really gonna make it, they're really gonna be selfish and make it more about them again. And then in your mind, you'll be like, see, this is why I didn't say anything. This is exactly why I didn't say anything. Different things work for different people, and I'll never believe that humans are sinners. Well, it says so in the Bible that we are born into sin, right? I believe that we're all good people, but we're not sinners. Okay. I mean, what are the commandments? We sin every single day. We sin and we also ask God to forgive us for our sins. That's why God's love is unconditional. I mean, we're perfect people? No, we're not. I didn't say that we're murderers. But the thing is, what I believe is that we're all capable of murder, though. You have to acknowledge these things. Once humans stop acknowledge once this is the universal laws as well too. Once humans stop, this is a good topic actually, Jaded Hunter. Once humans stop acknowledging that we're capable of murder, we're capable of sin, then what happens is you end up being full of sin. And that's another part that's also in the universal lessons is that once you start acting like you're not materialistic or that you don't have these things in you, what happens is repression. So then what happens is you actually suppress these things, and then what happens is they shoot up. You have to acknowledge the energy that there's a positive and a negative. It's not just all positive. There's no way. What's a sunny day if what's a sunny day if there's not a rainy day? We have these things inside of us, and as long as you acknowledge that, then you can be the best person that you can be. I wouldn't, me personally, on a business level or anything, or a relationship, I wouldn't trust anybody who would be like, I'm perfect all the time. Those are the worst type of people. That means that when no one's looking, you kill people, or you're a real full time sinner. Then when no one's looking, I'm perfect all the time. We're human. No, we're not. And the lesson that I'm saying right now, this is part of the universal laws. This is all part of the subject matter of what we're talking about today. Well, I never said that either. I just don't believe that people are born bad. I didn't say that we are born bad. I'm reverting to what the Bible is saying, and which is true, that we all are born into sin. We're all sinners. We're all born into sin. But this is I don't want to get too caught up into theology either, and because those are different topics, and that's just based off of faith. And your faith is your personal journey. And there is no right or wrong, just like when it comes to art. There's no right or wrong when it comes to that. That's your personal journey. And I wouldn't be somebody who would be pompous enough to stand on a soapbox, as Socrates would say, and preach my faith. Because then I'm not right. I'm wrong. So you're not wrong either. But jealousy, envy, hate, these are the things that are inside humans. We know this. If we lived enough life, which we have, we know these things are inside humans, right? And we also know that these things are also inside of the best people that we know, right? I mean, these things are called sin inside the Bible. And we have to be careful of what we say around people, because these things are naturally inside of people and they could affect your energy. If you're going to go throughout life, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you're going to go throughout life thinking that you're going to be telling people your success, or telling people your goals, or telling people your thing, and sharing your energy, believing that everybody is great people, then you're not going to be successful in the world. And that just sucks. I mean, unfortunate. I wish that it was, but it's not. And you have to also acknowledge that, most people, most people are full of sin. I mean, look at the world that we live in right now. Let's see here. Jada Hunter says, I guess I quite don't understand what you mean by being born into sin. Well, that's why babies are baptized, because you're being born into sin. So they want to baptize them as soon as you're born into this world of sin. Not saying right or wrong. I'm just going off of what's written off of theology, okay? I mean, but everybody knows this. Even if you're not a Christian, people know that's you're baptized when you're a baby, because the book says that you're being born into the world of sin. That this is the devil's realm. He says, he said this is why Elon misses his deadlines. He sets them and then he talks it up, and then it doesn't happen. That's why. And that's a good one. That's a good example. Exactly. That's a great way to explain that. Yes, yes, blessed artist. Sin is merely an energetic state of self-service. I love that. That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. So what I used to always say is that work in silence. If you're going to tell people that you're going to buy a new car, right? Like, pull up with the car. Don't say that you're going to keep getting this car. Tomorrow's going to do this and it's going to do that. Just pull up with the car. There's nothing wrong with eventually telling people about the success, but let the success speak for itself. And or in other words, with Tenzi Shiku says, is that like Elon never hits his deadlines, because he always talks about it. Exactly. I want my flying car. He said that we were supposed to see a flying car at the end of 2025, and it never happened. And that's because he talked about it. If he didn't say anything about it, then we would have just been surprised when he showed up with the flying car. That's how I look at life. There's nothing wrong with eventually telling people and showing people the success, because that's what it's all about sharing the success as well too. But pull up with the car. Don't talk about the car. Mr. Chavez says, born into sin because we're not perfect. Exactly. We're not perfect. And that's the thing too about the universal laws, is just understanding that we're not perfect. And once you understand that, then you can leave your ego out of certain things. You can understand that God's love is unconditional, that the work is already there, the art is already there, everything is already there, it's supposed to be. We're not perfect. But once you acknowledge that, like you ever meet a neighbor, right? You ever meet a neighbor, or you ever meet somebody and there's just something you're like, something about him throws me off. And the thing that throws you off about them is because they try to act like they act too perfect, right? We all know what we're talking about, right? Where it's like someone tries to be like, we always make a joke and be like, that's the type of person that they probably chop up people in their basement. They probably got like someone locked up or something because they're like hey, Mr. Neighbor, everything is so perfect and everything is great. And it's like, no one is all like, do you have a nervous system? You can't always be perfect all the time. I don't like people like that, because art's not even perfect. Like I said, I'll show up and I'll try to do 100 paintings, so hopefully I like one of them. That means that I'm okay. I'm understanding the energy. But if I try to be like, well, everything is perfect all the time, I just, those people just give me the ick. Let the results speak for itself. And it's okay for us to simplify the journey as well too. Have you ever seen people who are successful, but yet they don't work as hard as you? And you're like, why? Because a lot of times they understand, or they were taught the universal law of simplicity. Not everything has to be so complex and difficult. I always say that like, I always say my God doesn't want me to be working that hard. A lot of times things are simple, and then we don't know it either, because we're taught from society that everything has to be like complex. That's why some people who don't understand it either, and maybe they went to art school, or they were trained classically or traditionally how to do art, and they were taught that you have to do it this complex way. It's very hard to them to understand how we create art, because they're like, well, it has to be 100 hours on the polar bear hairs. How could you do it so quickly? Everything has to be complicated. People actually feel like in order for you to make $1 million, it has to be complicated. It has to be hard. It has to be. And that's not true either. You have to figure out how to work smarter and have simplicity. Tenzuku says, yes, I had a coworker with overly friendly vibes. I told him he was fake to his face. A month later, he was in jail for domestic abuse. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I didn't even want to give examples, right? But we all know like I don't want to give examples, right? Yeah. That's just like I don't yeah. I exactly. I don't you can have people who studied forever and they're in the Vatican, but then we hear about the crimes that happen there, right? I'm not saying all, we know it happens, but the ones that try to suppress and act like you're not human, we are human. And these, I'm going off. I'm not really. I'm like I said, I don't know how gravity works. I don't know how electricity works. But these are things that I've learned of universal law. I'm teaching you the universal laws. Don't personalize it too much. If you personalize it too much, then that's fine. Then you're losing focus of these are the things that universal laws of wealth. There's a lot of people out there. Like, have you ever met people out there who there? I say there's certain people out there who are dangerous because they think that they think that everybody's good people and they're a bad judge of character. So if you're around some people like that, you'd be like, if there was a bad situation or if there was a zombie apocalypse, right? They'd be the type of people to be like, no, let's help them. They need help over there. And then they welcome them in, right, with the food, and then they get killed and all this stuff. And it's like, you're a bad judge of character on knowing who are the suspect ones. These are universal laws of wealth. So success doesn't have to be hard. Belief in difficulty creates self-sabotage. A lot of times we self-sabotage ourselves because we believe that things have to be so difficult. We believe that there has to be more to it. How can someone, I used to do this to myself. How can someone want my artwork? I didn't spend that much time into it. I only spent 10 minutes into it. That doesn't make sense. Then I would self-sabotage myself self-consciously. We do this all the time. We do this with so many different things in our life. Belief in difficulty, it creates self-sabotage. Stop believing that things have to be so hard and so difficult for you in your life. It doesn't. God does not want everything in your life to be so difficult. #717best says the universe responds to energy. That's why you see bad people wealthy and good people poor. If you feel abundant, you'll get the riches, not because you're good or bad. Exactly. Exactly. And we have to get out of that mindset, but these are the type of mindsets that a lot of us are taught. And it's just so bad because it's easy for us. Because then what happens consciously or self-consciously is that we sabotage ourselves and believe that we have to either make things more difficult. So we need to do more. We need to study more. We need to do 100 hours of the polar bear hairs. We need to do more. We need to go to school for 20 more years. We need to do, or we say to ourselves that really self-sabotages ourselves. Well, I'm poor, so I'm a good person though. I get to go to heaven and they get to go to hell. Their karma is going to happen to them. No, it's not. No, it's not. The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to be broke because you're thinking that money somehow equals, or the people that have, who might just understand universal laws of power and wealth, that they're all bad people and I'm a good person because I work really hard at the steel plant and I build bricks with my hands. But they're bad people. How dare them have it easy? They have it easy because they understand the universal laws of where the flow comes to them. It's an energy flow. And they're laughing at you because you don't understand it. And you're thinking that, well, as long as I just work harder and clock in, they're going to get their karma. They're going to get theirs. Hey, Jin. Some achieve effortlessly what takes others decades. So we need to stop glorifying struggle. Like, we have to stop glorifying struggle. That's a part of the good book as well, of the secret knowledge of wealth. Stop glorifying struggle. Someone asked me, like, for example, you see, I don't glorify struggle, and I'm very transparent with you. There's other people whose hustle is that they paint 100,000 hours of the panda bear hairs, And maybe they don't even. And I know a lot of these artists, they actually don't. They have tricks around how they do it, but it's better for them to glorify the pain and the struggle. And I've had to do this. Before I went to the studio, I didn't have no shoes on, and I walked 100 miles on bare glass in the snow to get to the studio. I didn't have an art store, so I grinded up the pigment dust off of the dirt that I collected when I walked to the studio 100 miles, and then I painted that. Instead, I'm like, how long did something take you? It took me 10, 12 minutes. And Picasso had the same notion, right? Where the old story is that the woman came to his table or whatever, right? And then she's like, "Hey, can you paint me something or draw me something?" He drew something on a napkin and he said to her that it's going to be $30,000. And she's like, "What? But you only took 5 minutes to do it." He says, "Yeah, but it took me a lifetime to learn how to do it." So you're right in what you're saying, Julio, where it's about the mastery as well. And that's the mindset as well too, to have the confidence of what you're saying, is that you can also put it in your mind already that you're a master at what you do, and that great things come to you with ease. It comes to you with ease. Things will start coming to you with ease in whatever you're doing, in the mastery of whatever you're doing. Once you start flowing and you start saying that it comes to you with ease, things come to you with ease. Money comes to you with ease. Success comes to you with ease. Once you start behaving that way and believing in it, then it comes to you. Things will come naturally easy for you. But if you always put this energy on you that everything has to be difficult, sales have to be difficult, I'm just waiting, then you're going to keep waiting, and then things are going to be more difficult. Tulio says, I think we shouldn't confuse something difficult with mastery. Mastery is highly valued because it doesn't happen overnight. When a master creates a work, it can happen in a matter of minutes. Or it cannot. This is the thing. When the energy is so powerful, all things that are impossible are possible with God. So it's like, or not too. So the mastery is that I could maybe take a banana and I could duct tape it up against the wall, and then the energy flows to me that way. It flows different ways. And I can't say that person's not a master either, because me personally, I believe even if you spent the years of doing something, or if you didn't spend the years of doing something, I believe that all humans are masters, right? Because we're masters within our own energy, within our own selves, and we can have it flow whichever way. So it just depends on the form of mastery of what you're saying, as if it's technique, or if it's skill sets, or if it's something that's aesthetically pleasing of mastery. There's different forms. Or I could be a mastery of energy and just sit on the couch and do nothing, but yet it comes to me. All right, let me start punching this in with the black, and I could be done. Now, another important part is you have to start witnessing your goals. And I mean, we talk about this all the time as well too, where you have to you have to be a, what do we say? You have to be a time walker, is what I say. And I really believe in that. That's a great form of how to make things happen, how to have the universal laws of energy come back to you. is you have to be a time walker. And to be a time walker, you have to close your eyes and you have to visualize yourself. That's why when they ask professional athletes, they would always say, I visualize myself winning the Super Bowl. I visualize myself winning the fight. And it's not even really about visualizing it as much as more as it is about the feeling. So a lot of times people were we want to be successful, or we want whatever the goal is, and it's not so about the material or things. Usually it's about the feeling that we would have of our family hugging us, or someone being proud of us, or we pull up with the car or whatever, and the feeling of your family, or the feeling of people being proud of you, right? These are things that you need to go deeper on, not just about the material part. Go more into the feeling of what it is that you want to feel in the moment, right? Like, okay, you win the lottery, right? Is it really more so about the monetary, the fiat? The fiat is just a construct. So it's not just about that, it's about the feeling that you have after it. It's the feeling that how do other people perceive you, or whatever it is. Whatever that feeling is that you're looking for, or that you want to go for, if you go deeper into it, give yourself permission to feel that today, regardless. So that way you don't have to wait for the lottery to come. You don't have to wait for that moment. You don't have to wait for that feeling. You have permission to feel that today. Think of it that way. And then that's how the universal blessings come. That's why people go, the rich stay rich, and the broke stay broke. The broke stay broke because they're constantly manifesting broke feelings. They're constantly manifesting the scarcity of not having. They're always thinking of, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. Your attention or your energy flows to the things that what you put attention towards. And a lot of times we put attention on the things that we don't have. I don't have sales. I don't have sales. I don't have sales. I don't have sales. What happens after a while? You're over there hypnotizing yourself and you don't even realize it. You're over there putting a trance on yourself of no sales and you don't even realize it, because all your energy is going towards that. Has there ever been like a particular car that you wanted and you never even really seen that much of that car, right? Like, until you wanted it. You haven't even really seen it. But then all of a sudden you look at it and you've been looking at pictures of it online, or you've been looking at the car. All of a sudden, what do you see when you start going outside? Come on, we know. We know. All of a sudden you see that car everywhere because now your attention is on it. Energy comes to where your attention is at. These are things that are taught. These are things that are taught to the super rich of how the universal laws of money. Your focus needs to be where you want your success to be. And it goes back to what I was saying. Give yourself permission to feel however you're going to feel in the moment of whatever you want of your success. It's not based upon the thing that you want to as much as the feeling. Whatever the feeling is, close your eyes, meditate on that for 5 minutes and feel what it would feel like. What is the feeling that you're looking for? What is the feeling that you want when you go into your job and you say to your coworker, I'm out of here? like, I got this many sales. I make this amount of money. I was making this amount of money for 3 months. Now I got this amount saved up. What's that feeling? I always go off of the feeling. Whatever that feeling is, you can give yourself permission to feel like that today. Once you give yourself permission to feel like that today, you don't have to wait on this moment, because then you're always going to be waiting. The more that you wait for these moments and you give attention on waiting for this certain energy, this certain type of emotion to have, you're always going to be waiting for that emotion. And then you're giving yourself scarcity where you're not in abundance, and you're waiting for this emotion. You're waiting. You're always going to be waiting. How many people right now? I know there's so many people who always feel like for some reason I'm anxious, and you're anxious because you always feel like I'm waiting for something to happen. I'm waiting for either good news. I'm waiting for a good sale. I'm waiting for whatever in the world to happen. I'm waiting for these outcomes of external things that you can't control, instead of what you can control is internal, of the giving yourself permission to already feel these things, so you don't feel like you have to wait. And then when it does happen, you need to be where you're in such abundance in your mind. You already put yourself in a mindset where you're not going to be tripping off of it, like you're going to be so excited. And you're going to be like, because you already gave yourself permission to feel it. It's not a surprise to you. It's not a surprise to you because you already had it. You already had the emotion of it. You need to give yourself permission to feel like that you already won the lottery, or whatever it is that people are proud of you, or you quit and your coworker. Give yourself permission to start feeling this way, and then it comes to you. That's why I said, like, you kind of have to be delusional. You have to be delusional first. The most successful people, when they teach this of wealth and they teach the energy, they teach that you have to be delusional. But you have to be delusional now, and that's how you control your reality, because your reality now, it's very short. Clocks weren't around for few hundred years. Before that, it was just a construct where everything was now. But you're over here waiting because you're based on things off of time. That was a deep one. I hope it hit. Thank you, Jin, for the super chat. I greatly appreciate you. Thank you. That really means a lot to me. Boom, mic drop. That was a good one too. Did you pick that? Were you able to pick that emoji over there? The emoji over there? That's awesome, because that was a mic drop that I just dropped right there. That was a good bar that I left for you guys right there. If you can understand what I was just saying, because that's the real form of energy and how you can make things happen for yourself. Jada Hunter says, yes, I've been seeing Suzuki Jennies all over the place. Exactly. But this is the crazy part, right? Jada Hunter's like, no one else is checking for Suzuki Jimmys because I haven't seen them. But now if I get online and if I look at Suzuki Jimmys, right, I'm going to start seeing them because I'm looking for it if my energy is placed towards that. So what you have to do, you have to start forming your energy into that. You need to start forming your energy, how to channel your energy into that, because with the same energy of what you put on to seeing that car, you can also project that energy into you can project that energy onto the success and the things of life that you want to see. $7173 Best says rectangular activating system. Yes, I see Porsche everywhere. Exactly. That's awesome. And once this clicked for me, these are things that were taught from me. These are things that were taught from me from energy, successful people, wealth, secret society type stuff, okay? And I could teach you this stuff because I'm not initiated. So I won't be in trouble. Now, if I was initiated, I would be in trouble. I couldn't tell you this stuff. And the thing that's crazy about being initiated, which is on a tangent, and I'll leave it alone. What people don't understand, once you're initiated, they don't have to tap your phones. They don't have to have people that look and whatever. See, people always wonder how come conspiracies are conspiracies and how come people are such tight-lipped when they come to a group. The thing why is because how conspiracies work in the secret societies is that they have ways of channeling and seeing what you're up to or what you're saying by thought and by energy. So they don't have to tap your phones and all of that stuff. You know, that's like what broke people think. People don't even understand that. Like, they've been doing this stuff for 100 years. They're able to do like telepathy. All right. They're able to, once you're initiated, they're able to actually see what you're saying. They're actually able to know what you're saying. All right. But that's a different topic. I won't go into that. So you have to witness your goals. Fake. I'm gonna put you on game, man. I'm about to like we're having such a good conversation today. You have okay. I guess another way how you could say it is that you have to fake it till you make it. You know how many fake millionaires out there become real millionaires because they faked it? I don't have nothing. I'm I don't I don't have nothing against or I'm not for someone like Andrew Tate or other people like that, right? In the manosphere. But like these people were broke. And the thing is, what made them a real millionaire or whatever is they would always say, I'm a billionaire, I'm a billionaire. No, you're not. No, you're not. And most people know it. But then after you say it for a while, it becomes it. This is the energy as well. If you keep saying things, you end up becoming it. You fake it till you make it. But there's other parts of the energy as well. I don't have anything for or against the gentleman. But one thing I've noticed on him is that he understands and he was taught a lot of the universal laws of wealth, power, and money. Yes, I'll start seeing a Elantra out for wheel drive. Anytime I mention people's names and I try to give an example, I just always try to give people names of example. But since we're on YouTube, I always have to give a disclaimer because you can't please everybody, and there's always going to be somebody out there who either likes or dislikes. And I'm always trying to stay neutral on those things. I never go into it. Just like when I talk about politics or whoever president, whatever, I always try to stay neutral. And because there's people out there who would be extreme on both sides to be like, oh yeah, you like that person? I'm going to find out where you live and I'm going to hunt you down. Please don't. I'm just giving examples. Brian Smith says the first people, Adam and Eve, they sinned. This sin nature is passed down to all. That's what I believe too. I mean, that's what I thought. I mean, maybe I'm wrong about something. I was just going off of basic theology, really. And I wasn't even the things that I'm going off of now. I'm not even saying the things of what I totally believe into my core of things. Just like I'm telling you that like the super rich, they believe in order for the universal laws of money is that they do sacrifices. And I'm pretty sure it's to an extreme level where they're not sacrificing goats and animals, if you get what I'm saying. All right. That doesn't mean that I do it. The whole course of this right now is to give what is taught, and you can do with it what you want. I'm the messenger. Don't fight the messenger. What are you fighting the messenger for? I didn't write, yeah, exactly. I didn't write the Bible, so I'm just going off of that. The first people, Adam and Eve, they sinned. So sin is the nature, is passed all the way down. That's what I thought. Man is sin. We're born into sin. That's what I thought too. Maybe I'm wrong, but whatever. Don't want to go back into that. Different subject. What we're saying is that you have to fake it till you make it. And a lot of that works as well too when it comes to success, when it comes to art, when it comes to anything that you're doing in business. You have to put a little bit more on because we are all creators. And when I say that we're all creators, we're born into the image of the creator, which means that God is inside of us. We're also gods ourselves. Now, this is another thing that's taboo about to say, but these are things that are also taught inside the universal laws of wealth and power, is that we are all gods ourselves. And they know this power, they know this, but things have been kind of changed in the book, and then some people think it's taboo because we're supposed to think that we're just peasants, we're ants, and we're not equal to God. Jesus knew this as well. Jesus knew that he was the same as the Lord. It's inside of us. But some people, they get caught up and they go, no, we're not. We're just peasant ants. And once you start thinking that way, you'll never have power. And then people will live their whole life in slavery and thinking that their heaven is only due to them outside of this realm, when God wants you to have your heaven now as well. And these are the things that are really taught inside the universal laws of power and wealth, is that it's okay to have your heaven now. I love that. That's so true. AZ Lady says the Bible teaches that you will have what you say. Faith comes from hearing. Exactly. Exactly. You know, broke people believe that they need to see prosperity first in order to believe. Wealthy people become wealthy because they're delusional and they don't need to see it first. They have faith in it. They have faith. Faith comes by hearing. These lessons I'm saying are actually biblical. Feel free. Yesterday I gave a tip where I said that if you want to change your wealth and you want to change the universal laws very quickly and you want money to start gravitating towards you, I said feel free to start changing your environment, right? And a part of changing your environment as well is go to luxury places. You know, one of my mentors told me years ago, and I forgot this until right now. He would say that if you really want to be inspired, if you really want to feel like you're about to hustle, you're about to do something, he says, in whatever city that you're in, go downtown and go to the fanciest hotel and just sit in the lobby. He used to say this. I mean, it's a good analogy. Maybe everybody doesn't have a fancy hotel in whatever city or place they're at, but you understand the principle of what he's saying, right? Feel free to go house hunting and look at a mansion. Feel free to drive around and look at things that, go to Beverly Hills and be around these people. Who says that you can't? Who says that you're not? A lot of times people don't even want to go to like certain stores, right? Even if you don't have $1 in your pocket. That's what the mentor said, that's important too. He says, go to these places without $1 in your pocket. Like, if you're broke, go to Beverly Hills and go to a store. A lot of times people don't even want to go to fancy stores, right? Because you feel like, I'm out of place. I'm a peasant. I'm this. You put this mentally in your mind. And then what happens is you already don't feel that you're adequate enough or that you can. Start making these things regular. Change your environment up. Even if you don't live there, start making it normal that even if you don't have $1 in your pocket to spend, go to an expensive store. Go to a Neiman Marcus. Go to an expensive store. Go into a Louis Vuitton a couple times. Even if you're not into these things, of course, right? But that's another lesson that I'm going to go on into as well too. That maybe that'd be a sidetrack. But even if you're not into these things, at least go there. Go to an expensive restaurant, or maybe not a restaurant because you would have to actually spend money. But go to an expensive hotel. Go to you know what? Hey, even if you don't have any money, go test drive that car that you really want. That's an expensive car. How many times have you gone out there and you test drove a car? And it's like it's your dream car. How do you feel when you test drive that car? In your mind, you're like, I'll figure it out. I'm going to figure out how to get this car. I want this car yesterday. I'm going to figure it out. Jada Hunter says, today is like having a conversation with my Nana about religion. She gets frustrated with me too. Oh, I don't want that at all because that's not the point. That's not the point of this show at all. And I don't like discussing stuff like that because none of us are either right or wrong until we die. So, things like that is just your ego being involved. And faith is a personal thing. So anybody who takes it past that, that's more of a personal issue. Those are personal things. Faith is a personal thing. I'm not right or wrong. Faith is faith. Faith is your own thing. Socrates says that you could preach whatever you want, just don't stand on a soapbox and preach about it. Or you can say whatever you want, just don't stand on a soapbox and preach about it like you're right in whatever you're saying. That's like me, for example. I would dislike where people would get so passionate in their theology or their word of God or whatever they say it is, right? And I'm like, but if you really believe in that and your God is so powerful, why does he need little old you to be so defensive and emotional defending it? God doesn't need you to be defensive and emotional in defending it. That's your personal faith. You should be strong and confident in your own personal faith where you don't need to stand on a soapbox and preach about it. Like, be confident enough. Usually people who are so adamant enough to go back and forth and talk about those type of things, the same as politics as well too. Those are usually people who are very insecure in what they're saying and they don't have the knowledge based upon it, or they don't have the faith. I was always taught that knowledge is power. That way you're not in a standpoint of fear, because fear will come from anxiety of lack of knowledge. When you have knowledge, when you have knowledge and you know more than something, and somebody's like, but the TV told me this, and you look at them like they're dumb, like what, like, because you already have knowledge of whatever it is, and then it comes out a year later, 2 years later, that you were actually right all along. And then they go, oh, how did you know that? Because I have knowledge. So I wasn't like fearful of my life, and I'm not fearful of whatever because I always arm myself with knowledge. Let's see here. At my age, Jada Hunter, I'm not up for debate of anything. It's just like whatever it is, if that's how people feel, that's how people feel. Conversations is one thing, debate is another thing, but we're doing a show right now. And there's nothing to debate because these are your own personal views. That's how you need to go about life as well too. Some things are just a waste of time. You'll get that way once you get older. I don't know if you're younger or older than me. One of the things I always said too in life, no matter what it is, whatever the viewpoint is, it's better not to get involved in any of that stuff anyways, because my faith is that God will get involved himself. The longer that you're not on something, you'll notice that more people are not going to be adamant about it and want to push back on it. Sometimes people are so adamant and stubborn about things because that's human, just because they feel like you're for it or you're against it. And they'll be like, well, I'm going to show them and I'm going to be more of this. But then one day when they realize that you're not participating in their game and you matured and you don't even want to have a conversation or debate, then eventually what's going to go on, they're going to get tired of their echo chamber, and then they're going to have to look in the mirror one day, and then they're going to have a conversation with themselves or with God in that moment of whatever the truth is, the universal truth, or whatever it is. By that time it doesn't matter. It's up to God. It's not up to me. Yeah, exactly. Yep. See, knee crunch knows what I'm talking about. I love doing these paintings, but the thing is, like, I should have been done with this ages ago. I could always just work this. But today's my Thursday. I get to do what I want. Like, I'm just having a conversation with you, giving information out. But yeah, yeah, knee crunch. You know what I'm talking about. And you can only learn that through wisdom in life, just living long enough that most things are a waste of time. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so get in the habit of start visiting luxury places, even if you don't have any money. We all been in situations. We always try to get ourselves not, I'm broke, so I don't want to go to this expensive store. I'm broke, so I don't want to test drive the car. You only want to test drive the car when you think that you have the possibility of getting it. Start test drive an expensive car. Hey, you know what, Zinzin? Go out there and test drive the Porsche. This is the thing. They can't say no to you of test driving the car. You can test drive the car. They don't know that you don't have it, but start putting yourself in the echelon of the mindset that you will. And I guarantee you, you'll be closer to getting that Porsche by you putting yourself in position to test drive it than you would by staying away from it. This is how energy works as well. You'll be more in a situation to put yourself in an echelon by being around wealthy people, by being in an expensive hotel, or going to just look at a mansion, um, you know, and putting yourself in the mindset. Well, a lot of times we're put in this mindset where it's bad to want expensive things. It's bad to want luxury. No, it's not. It's not bad. Like that's another thing. That's one of the lessons as well too, in the universal laws of wealth and power is that it's not a bad thing to want material. It's not a bad thing to be materialistic, okay? You have to be distanced from victim mentality of friends. Like we have certain friends out there who have the victim mentality. I can't. I won't. I like we have to get away from that as well too, but I know it's so hard, especially, you know, us humans, we need we've been, we don't want to be ostracized or we don't want to be looked at as black sheep. So it's not easy to tell people, hey, get away from certain family and friends because their mindset is the victim mentality or their mindset is where they don't want you to have. And then they'll come from it from a standpoint of, well, it's because I love you. It takes a strong person to be successful and to make money. And a lot of it has to do with not about how hard you worked or how smart you are. It also has to do about your mindset and about using universal laws of wealth where you were able to transfer it over to yourself. Because a lot of times it's not so much about the things that you add to your life. A lot of times it's about the things that you subtract from your life. And you should write that down. All right. I spent too much time on this one. Let's get on to the next one. Look at that. Isn't she beautiful? There she is right there. I love her. She's nice. She'll sell well. People will love it. People love to hang this up on their wall. It's a beautiful painting. Let me know what you think. If I can do it, you can do it. All right. Look, I mean, I did this freestyle pretty much. I wasn't thinking anything about it. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Ugh. That's very true, Jada Hunter. It's not bad to want something. It's how you go about getting it, which shows what type of person you are. That's very true. That's the main thing right there. That's the main thing right there. And you can use universal laws to attract the things that you want, but we just need to get from the mindset where we have too many people nowadays where people get what they want right in life and they don't have to work as hard and they don't have to make everything complex. So the first thing that we do, or the victim mindset likes to do at times in our society, is go, well, they worship the devil. They're bad people. They kill people. They're horrible people. And a lot of times that's true too in our society, where those situations for sure. But we can't say that for every circumstance. Every time somebody has something nice that we want, they drive a fancy car or something that we want, they live a lifestyle. The first thing that we like to do at times is, well, they don't deserve it because they're a bad person. I don't know how, but we'll start listening to what the TV says. Well, capitalism is bad. I don't know who they are. They just need to pay more taxes. They need to pay. They need to pay more into the system. So like stuff like that. Like that's the kind of mindset that people get conditioned into. I don't know who they are, but they didn't pay their fair share. I know that much. You don't even know their struggles of what they had to do, or their mindset. So another part too of the universal wealth and universal laws of wealth and the hidden knowledge. And we hear this all the time, but we really don't. They really don't understand. Let's see here. Knee Crunch says, tax the rich. They have no idea that globally they are in the rich category. Yeah, right. It's always the ones who goes, tax the rich. But yet every single morning they have a $10 Starbucks drink in their hand. They got a $2,000 iPhone, Like if we were in such dystopian times of what these people like to say, they would not have the freedom to say the things that they're saying, or they would be kidnapped at nighttime. These people are bad people. Okay. say that stuff in Europe in the 1930s. You wouldn't even have the freedom to say that. Say that stuff in China right now. You wouldn't even have the freedom to say any of that stuff you're saying while you're holding a $10 macchiato and a $2,000 iPhone. But we hear this all the time. What I was going to say is that face your fears. There's no such thing as fear. Only thing that's behind fear is success. Only thing that's behind fear is success. And we self-sabotage ourselves all the time. We hear it all the time. Face your fears, face your fears. And we don't do it. What time is it? I gotta keep track of the time. I got a meeting in less than an hour. We don't do it. We don't face our fears. And I'm gonna tell you, like, the only thing that's behind fear is success. That's it. That's it. And we know it too. But we don't do it because we use an excuse of why we don't want to be successful. And there's so many times in our life, right, where it's like jumping off that diving board. We'll spend more time, the more time that we stand on that high diving board, the more that we don't want to jump off. But the one who actually takes the action, and he has beginner's luck because he doesn't use too much time listening to other people, he just gets up there and jumps off of it. He's the happiest kid in the world, right? When he's in that water. Isn't he so happy? He's so happy. You ever see a kid who was scared of getting on a roller coaster? He gets on a roller coaster. That's the happiest kid in the world after the roller coaster's over with. And then you know who's always jealous of the kid too? Look, this is great analogies that I'm thinking of right now off the top of my head. The kid who jumps off the diving board and he's happy as ever. He's smiling. He's so happy that he jumped off the diving board. The kid who rolled the roller coaster that his big brother wouldn't even want to ride, but he rode it and he's happy as ever. When they get out of the pool or when they get off the roller coaster and they're happy and they're smiling, who's always mad at them? Who's always jealous of them? It could be their own family members. They're always pissed off because you're smiling and you beat your own fear. And for some reason, they're pissed off because they're still human. They might love you and all that stuff. They're still human, but they're mad because something inside of them couldn't do it. They couldn't get past the fear part, the illusion part of it. We all know that. Janet says, I never used a projector. It's the best. You should try it. I've sold over 17,000 paintings, and all of them was mostly from the projector. It's the best. I mean, of course that I know most people could do it. I mean, but most great artists use a projector anyways. Look up Leonardo da Vinci using the camera obscure, and so many other artists. Most artists use the projector. They just do the magician trick of not telling you about it because, that's what it's all about. And I can't hate on them about that. But fear is an illusion. Fear is a mind killer. Fear is also a money killer. It's a killer of everything. And the crazy part is like your brain will believe into it when it's like there's nothing really there. But I'm going to give you a secret about fear. Fear is that energetic parasite that we talked about earlier in the video. So anytime that you feel this feeling of fear, of doubt, just understand that you're on the right path and you need to go harder. It's usually what I've learned over the years. When I start feeling like this, it's usually a key indicator. It's a signal for me that I'm doing the right thing. And the energy parasite, it wants me to go back to who I was when I was being comfortable, when I was being broke. They want me to be back into the state of mind of not having, of scarcity. So anytime that you feel like something is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do it, or you have fear, you have doubt, just know that's your brain being that's like a indicator. That's a signal that you're actually doing the right thing and you need to go harder into it. And then you'll be that kid who just jumped off the diving board. You'll be that kid who rode the roller coaster afterwards and you'll be smiling. Your adrenaline is going to be pumping and you're going to be like, man, I should have done this all along. But other people, right, who your coworkers or your family, and they're still broke, they're going to be looking at you and wondering, they're going to be like, man, you beat your fear though. I wouldn't have been able to do that. And then you're going to be like, come on, it's so much fun. Like anybody can do it. Only thing you have to do is do this. Let me show you how. Anybody can do this. And they're like, I don't know. That diving board seems quite high. What if I die? They're putting all this time and energy into their mind instead of just doing it. And you're trying to show them how to do it. Crown Target says something that's so true. Activity cures fear. So true. And I'm glad that you said that. Now I could go deeper into that one. When I started painting, like gallery painting, there was this artist, and I wish I could remember her name, but it stuck out to me what she said. She said that for her, I mean, but this is also biblical of what you're saying, which is basically idle hands is the devil's playground or the devil's workshop. But she said for her, she's anxious. She says she's an anxious person. And in order for her to not be anxious, she always has to work. She said that's why she works so much. She said she can't imagine not working because she's just an anxious person and she has to work. And that helped me because I related to that. I have to work even if I'm painting, I'm not painting, I'm making a video, I'm making courses, or I'm doing one of my other businesses, or I'm I'm doing something. I have to figure out something because I'll have anxiety, and the longer that I'll have it, the more I'll be thinking of doubt, or doubt could come in. So in order for it not, the more that I work, it's kind of like I think of myself as like an airplane. I have to make sure that I'm still working so much, and everything is like one big project, that I don't have time to doubt. If I have time to doubt, then that just means that I'm not working hard enough. I have to the thing that beats doubt for me is that I got so many projects and I got so many things that I can't lose. Because even if I lose, like, I look at things as a whole project. Not every video that I release, and not every course or every video that I release on YouTube or something, right? They're not all going to be great, and they're all not going to be bangers. But I don't care, because I'm not looking at it for that one video. I'm looking at it as a whole. And as long as I have the whole there, as long as I have a lot, then it doesn't matter what I do. I can make more mistakes. That's why I work the way that I work. I can make more mistakes the faster that I work, and the more that I work it. I can make more mistakes. But if I'm not doing enough, if I don't have enough where I'm producing enough, then I'm going to treat life, and I'm going to treat my paintings like a Mona Lisa. I'm going to want to them to all to be perfect because I didn't produce enough. So that's how I know time at times too people aren't working enough, because you want things to be perfect, and really what you're asking is for you not to be a failure and for you not to make a mistake. Instead of you looking at the whole project as a whole of whatever you did today, and you won't make a mistake. It doesn't even matter if I did an ugly painting, an ugly flower, or whatever it is. I already did 100 paintings today, so I'm looking at that as one painting. By the time that you'll look at whatever you think is ugly, you're not even going to think of it as being ugly, because I got so many other things that I produced. It'll get lost in the fog. You'll think it's beautiful just because more is prolific and it was part of the whole project. But if I was just only doing that one flower or whatever, that one polar bear, I'm working harder just so I cannot fail. Bebe says, "Can you recommend a projector?" Yeah, I have a list of the projector of what I use and what you can use as well inside the elite community. If you're not already a part of the elite community, click the link that's in the chat. Click the link that's in the chat that's pinned to the top, so you could join. You could get everything started for yourself. We have everything, so that way you can download the templates, you can upload it onto eBay. There's no guessing game. Everything is there for you, and you can start making sales as early as next week. Just get started. Everything is there for you, no guessing game. And you have a community there that can help you along the way. So what they call it is anterior cingulate cortex. It grows when facing fear. The same thing of what we talked about the kid on the height on the diving board. The more that you have time to think about it. That's why they always talk about beginner's luck. Beginner's luck is just that the person doesn't know, the person doesn't have a definition of what the deep end is. They don't have a definition of whatever your fear is or whatever the wrong thing is. So they just go for it, and they're like, "Oh, I don't know what I was doing. I didn't know that was the limit or that wasn't." So true. Says one also working on just one painting, it increases the anxiety level. Like, what if it doesn't sell? How am I going to pay my bills? I've been there. I hate that. Oh, I hate that you even brought that up. It's like you just read into my mind right now. I hate that. I hate that you just brought that up. You brought me back to a very dark place, because I've been there too many times. I'm over here trying to make Mona Lisas, And the whole time I'm not enjoying the process because I'm not producing, and I'm thinking to myself the whole time, but what if it doesn't sell? And then I'm screwed because I can't control the market and I'm not flowing. I'm not flowing. So the energy's not flowing to me because I'm coming from a place of scared money makes no money. I'm coming from a place of bad energy. And it just sucks. I've been there too many times. Ugh. Just the thought of it right now makes me sick to my stomach. That's why I produce the way that I do, and that's why I teach the way that I teach. So that way you don't have anxiety. That way you can have the best flow, and that way you can also be following universal laws, even if I don't talk about it. You know, even if I don't tell you these things about it, these things, if you follow my principle and how to create, you're naturally following universal law of wealth. But humans are humans, and a lot of times people want to do their own thing. And what do they always say? You can what is it? You can drag a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. So the interior cortex, or the anterior cingulate cortex, it the cortex controls the will to live. It's fight or flight, right? It's a cave era brain programming that suppresses the energy. You have to do uncomfortable things to develop your character. You have to do the uncomfortable. Or just to keep things short with you, if you want extreme outcomes, then you have to do extreme outputs. You have to do extreme and you have to do the different in order for you to get extreme outcomes. If you want something different, then you have to be different. You have to do the different. I always say you can't serve two masters. A lot of times we think that we can also just get the things that we want in life by still being who we were over the past 10, 20, 30 years of these things that didn't work for us. A lot of these things didn't work for us. I'm sorry to say, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but the things that you were doing over the past 20, 30 years, they didn't work for you. Most of you were losers, degenerates, outfits, no discipline, no organization. And I was one too. That's how I know. And if you want some type of change, then you have to be the change. You have to set the tone of the reality. You have to be the time walker of the future. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. Exactly. Now, one of the things that helped me, and I had to sit in the mirror because I didn't have a plan B. And then one of the things that I had to say to myself, and I can't walk everybody through this journey, which is very important. And I say this all the time, especially when I do personal coaching. If you ever took any of my personal coaching, then you know I'm very big on saying this. The only way out is in, or the only way to freedom is the outcome. I'm not a sports person, but Kobe Bryant, he would focus on the process, not the scoreboard. When I talked about Spartans and how they trained and they understood the psychology before there was even a science for it, it was called the perceived I forget what the word is, but basically they would focus on the process and not the counts. They didn't go, okay, we have to do this many miles. Okay, we have to do this many crunches. Okay, we have to do this many um we have to do this many push-ups. Because then they were counting the torture. And then when you count the torture, or when you think about the scoreboard instead of the process, then you're just counting when you could quit. You're counting the torture. The time, the perception of time will change based on what you're counting. And the only way out of my debt, the only way out of my situation, the only way out of circumstances of life, if I want something different, is that I have to go all the way. I have to go through it. I can't go backwards. There's no such thing as backwards. But as humans, one of the first things that they taught in psychology was that humans, we just have this, we have this thing that we can't get rid of, and it's regret. But regret is living in the past, and we can't change the past. But God, we think about regret so much. We think about how we would do things different if we could go backwards. I hate that feeling because I'm guilty of it. I have regret every single day, but I also understand where it comes from. And then I also understand that I can't change the past. The only way that you can change the past, I'm going to give you a secret, and it's very short. The only way that you can change the past is you got to make more money. You want to change the past? Make more money and you'll change the past. You can't go backwards, but the only way that you can go backwards, the best way that you could go backwards is become successful and make more money. That's as simple as it gets. I dare somebody fight me on that. You want to change something in the past? You can't change something in the past. You might have let time go by and there were certain situations that left you. You can never bring back somebody from the dead. But if you want to have control of a past where you're thinking of, I wish something was a little bit different about the past, I wish whatever, then what you can do today, the best way how you could change the past of today is make more money. You have to make money. And the only way how you can make money is you have to go forward. You can't go backwards. A lot of times us as humans, we spend so much time and energy thinking about the past. And what I like to tell people too is kind of like you can't rationalize irrational. That's why I don't spend too much time trying to prove something to somebody, debate or have discussions on things. I'm too old for that. And whatever your rationality of how someone else thinks or whatever their thing is, you'll never come up with the real answer because you can't rationalize irrational. So you'll spend more time and energy trying to come up with solutions in your mind of why would this person think that way? Why would this happen, this, that? And you're spending more time into something that you'll never know the real answer of. Because it might just be something as simple as whatever it is, and you'll never know that. So why even spend time thinking about something that you can't control? What you can control is the outcome of today, and the outcome of today is being controlled by you and your mindset. And you can't go backwards. The only way is to go forward. The only way to go forward is to control yourself. When there was times where I was in debt, I had to say to myself, okay, I can't go backwards. I can't complain about it. I have to go forward. And you can't also be obsessed with you can't be obsessed with the outcome of the scoreboard. You have to be into the flow of the process. Like I said, as I'm just using as an example, because I never watched Kobe Bryant playing basketball or anything or these things. But me, I grab inspiration and I grab stuff from everybody, from everything, because that's how I do in life, right? Even some of the people who I do reaction videos to, it's not like particularly, I like their art or whatever, but I grab beauty and I grab inspiration from everything. And you should know that about me as well too, if you're inside of the elite community, where I love everybody's artwork and I will grab something inspiration from everybody. We're in this together. I grab everything from everybody. That's part of the process as well. I'm not above any of it. You can grab somebody's mindset, their personality, their work ethic, their beauty of whatever. It doesn't even have to be the art, and you can have that roll into your personality or different traits of what you're into. But back to what I'm saying is that Kobe, for example, he went and focused on the scoreboard. He was he wasn't obsessed of the outcome of the scoreboard and more like the process that was inside of him to go forward, because that's what he can change. So outcome obsession, it blocks the flow state, and that's what you need to become successful. You need to have the flow state. Process orientated mindset, it that's how you access excellence. The excellence in the Spartans, the excellence in certain sports people or athletes, the excellence in Picasso. Picasso didn't know how many paintings that he did until they told him that he did over 100,000. I tell this story all the time. I didn't know that I sold over 17,000 paintings until I started coaching, and I was making YouTube videos like 4 months ago, and I had looked up on my eBay sold category where it said how many I sold. I didn't know. You know why? Because there is no going backwards for me, and I'm more focused on the process. I'm more focused on creating so many paintings that it can't control anything. Now, if I was looking at how many I sold, I'd be broke. If I was looking at how many should I sell to make money, I'd be broke. I'm not looking at that because I can't day trade the numbers. Don't I always say that? I've been saying that from the beginning. Don't day trade the numbers. Now, at the beginning, when I'm saying don't day trade the numbers, you might think it means something else, which it does, and it means different things. But also, like I said, I'm teaching you universal laws of power and wealth, even if I don't tell you that's what it is. So as long as you don't day trade the number, then you're also naturally following what I'm saying of the universal wealth of just go with the process instead of focusing on the outcome and the scoreboard. Day trade the numbers is the scoreboard. That's not what we teach around here, right? The detachment, it creates results. The detachment is what's going to create the results. These are universal laws that are taught. This is why the greats are the greats. And you could apply this to life as well. It doesn't have to just be art and what we do. Start treating life that way. And then you're able to buy your freedom. I want my freedom more than anybody because I've worked for too many companies. I'm tired of feeling like either a slave to, there's always a slave to something that we could be a slave to, because that's how the system is built, right? Like you can't get away from it. Even if you're a millionaire, even if whatever, like you're a slave to some type of circumstance. So I always try to free myself, and I'm obsessed with like forms of freedom. And the only way to have a true freedom is to work harder and get yourself out of situations. You don't gain your freedom by counting the scoreboard and then seeing, oh well, we're already beating them up 26 points. I guess we could ease off a little bit. I guess that's enough. No, you don't do it that way. You keep going. You don't even pay attention to that sucker. That way you just keep running. No one's going to stop it. No one's going to stop you but you. If I want free time on the weekend where I'm not having anxiety or I'm not feeling anxious about my art sales, or if I'm not feeling like, oh, I need to go back to the studio and work. I need to go back to the studio and work because I didn't really show up this week. I didn't do my numbers. I was looking at the scoreboard. I didn't do my numbers. That's a horrible feeling. I used to feel like that too. I used to feel like that so many times in my life with eBay where I couldn't enjoy my life because I was looking at the scoreboard or the numbers, or I didn't show up, and I didn't when it was time to work, I wasn't showing up to work how I should be working. and I wasn't buying my freedom. I got to buy back my freedom. Freedom isn't free. You crazy? Sometimes we think that freedom is free. Freedom is not free. You got to earn your freedom. You got to buy it back. If you don't want to earn your freedom and buy it back, then you'll just be a slave forever, and that's your fault. Another thing, you have to build your brand. Any skill can be monetized through social media, through AI, through anything. I mean, even now, like record your process. The reason, if you're not already a part of the elite community, I have a 14-day sales orientation in there where it's like each day, day by day, you take your time to build up your account and you build up your process. I don't want you to miss this. I don't want you to skip this. This is important to build up your foundation, to understand how eBay works, to understand who you are psychologically. But also I go through a process in there where I want you to record your setup, record your station, record your process. These things are important. The reason why, because you're following universal laws of money, where I need you're a brand where you're going to record your process and you're going to be your own brand. Just because you're part of my coaching doesn't mean that you're not your own brand. You are your own brand. You have to be. You're your own business. And there's going to be a point in time, because it happens so fast, where you're going to look back on it and you're going to see how far you came. You're going to see how far you came in the process of you being your own business. And this is going to be something to be proud of. This is going to be something that you can share to either your family, you could be something to share to just even yourself, or it could be something that you can also be a motivation and an inspiration to other people. Because when I started out, I was recording my process just because I was stuck in the mindset of like Instagram, right? So I'm just used to always recording my process or recording my journey, as I would say, because I wasn't on Instagram at this time, or I was done with Instagram. I was on Instagram, but I was done with them. And I wasn't sharing it over there. I was just recording it for myself. So a lot of these things were backed up on the cloud, and I have all my pictures. So that's why you see a lot of my pictures from my studio, where I have the palettes, I have the paintings, I have all of the pictures of my journey. And I didn't know that like years and years later, I was going to be doing coaching. But then you don't know where the journey is going to be for you in building your own brand, of where you're going to be beneficial to other people's life. And you're going to be able to give back through showing your journey. So these are things that help, along with my coaching, of showing my journey of how far I came, that I also went through the process. But not only did I go through the process, I had pictures of showing that I went head first when I was broke, and I bought so much materials. I did the same process. The things that you're going through, I went through it. I'm still going through it. Record your work, share your work. Start building up your personality, who you are. I always say to you that you're a phenomenal person. You wouldn't be here. God wouldn't bring you here to this channel right now, and you wouldn't be here if you weren't a phenomenal person. You are a phenomenal person. That's why I always say, like, when somebody goes, "Oh, I'm glad that I met you. I'm glad that I found your channel." I'm like, "You didn't find my channel. We found each other, because you're a phenomenal person. I'm glad that I found you as well. You're part of my coaching, but you're your own, remember, we're all creators. You're your own light as well too. And let the world know it. Start recording your process. It's okay. The thing that's inside of you is different that's inside of me. And that's what makes it authentic. And the thing that is inside of you, it might blossom into an opportunity where you become a multi-billionaire. And me, I'm not, but the spark came from me. That's an awesome thing. I think I heard this thing years ago. There's this quote. and I might butcher it, but it was such a great quote that I heard like 30 years ago, and it was something like something along the lines. I might butcher it, but it was like maybe I'm not the maybe I'm not the greatest thing, but maybe I'm the miracle or the light that will spark to be the greatest thing. And I just thought that was great. I probably butchered it, but I paraphrased it. And that's how I look at things as well too. And that's something that you could be. You could be a blessing to people where you give back and you could be the light. I never, I never feel bad. Like I always, that's a blessing where if someone's doing better than me, or if someone, maybe they learn something, we're all in this together and you learn something and then you become a multi-billionaire, then that's great because it was always inside of you from the beginning. I was just something that brought that spark of light out of you because I understand how society is where it gets in our head where it makes us believe for so many years that we're not special, but we all are special. And you just need maybe that little spark of light from somewhere and you don't know where it comes from. And then it's just to show you of who you are. So these are things too of we're still on the topic of the power of generational wealth. And the secrets of it is that we all have greatness inside of us, but sometimes you just have to grab the inspiration of wherever you could grab it from, even if it's your coach or somebody. And then it's a lot of times it's those little sparks that end up blossoming who the next greatest thing is. And they always were meant to be. And the thing why I always like giving back and never being like a hater or anything like that to anybody, where I always say that we found each other, right? Because the day that happens, I believe in you. I believe in you so much where you will become the next thing. You're going to be the next billionaire. You're going to be the next millionaire. You're going to be the next special thing. You just don't know it in time. You just have to be consistent. But then what happens is you're always going to look back and be like, you know what? Corbellic believed in me and he never said that he was my coach and he's better than me and he knows better than me. Is that we're together, that we're both the same. Let's see here. And one of the things that we talk about when we talk about like recording your process is that you could utilize AI as well. AI is a great tool, but AI also can't replace authenticity. And that's who you are. That's why I say that's the power of what we have, and that's what people are really looking for. Those are the things that are winning in 2026. There's so many people who are trying to be someone else or trying to do an other art style or do something that people have already seen so many different times. And even if it's ugly or you feel like it's a mistake or you're learning your way, it's always better because authenticity is what sells. People are tired of the super clean looking, AI type of look, and you'll always win now with this authenticity of being yourself. But going into that, also be open. AI is a beautiful tool. Be open to using AI to help you in your life. Don't be one of these people out here where like we talked about, AI is the devil, so I'm not going to use it. That's what they told us. And then you're going to be left behind. That's just like saying that's just like people back in the day saying that cell phones and cars are the devil. I'm just going to keep riding my horse. I mean, I guess you can have that mindset if you want to be Amish, right? But if you want to be a part of the world and use things to your greatest advantage, then use it. That's just like I know most of us know how to do math, right? Where we know how to do 2 plus 2, or we know how to do certain percentages, but some people will be like, why are you using a calculator? That's the devil. That's how I look at AI. AI is just a calculator. Of course, we could write out these theses and these things if we really spent time to do it. But why, when you could utilize your time and use the technology to help you and to help formulate your mind a little bit better of things that can help you. So many times we have great ideas in our mind and we have things that can help society, but we just need something a little bit more calculated to help formulate it for us. So whatever idea that you might have in your head, play around with it and talk to AI about it. Ask them, hey, how could I use this to monetize? Because there's something special inside of you. There's something special inside of all of us. If you're enjoying this video, please make sure that you leave a like on there if you haven't already. I'm dropping some really deep gems today. Leave me some super chats. I greatly appreciate it. Let that energy flow back to you by giving back. A huge part of huge part of universal laws of having success come to you with money or anything else, and we hear it all the time too. This is biblical, but you have to forgive. Thank you, Sweet Life, for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Bringing that energy back to you. Universal law of giving. Even if you don't have, those are usually the ones that are most impactful, as we talked about. But you have to forgive. And we hear it all the time in the Bible. You have to forgive, forgive those who trespass against us. That's why it's written in there. But we hear it so much as kids or whatever, right? Or we hear it and we don't think anything about it. We don't understand how powerful it is. These things are very powerful. We have to forgive. Forgiveness breaks the energetic ties. That way you don't have ties to it. Like my thing, what I always say is I forgive, but I don't forget. Like me, I have a memory like a elephant. I don't forget nothing. And it's just that, I was just born that way. I have a really strong memory. But what I would tell people as well too, because some people hate is more powerful than love, unfortunately, in our realm. Hate is more powerful than love. Some people are so tied to wanting to hate somebody, and then it becomes your identity. There's people out there who hate politicians, celebrities. They have so much hate into it where at times I'm like, man, I can't wait whenever that person is out of the picture or whatever. That way people have to look in the mirror and be like, dang, I've been so conditioned to hating this person for so long. I don't know I gotta blame something now. And then hopefully one day you look in the mirror and be like, you're the one, like you're tied to the hate. And the reason why I say forgive, you have to forgive because you're letting yourself go. And that's where the flow comes into. The flow is going to come more once you forgive yourself. You're not forgiving them, you're forgiving yourself, but you're also giving yourself permission to not be attached to that person. You have to free yourself. A lot of these times people don't want to free themselves. And then they make excuses of why they don't either. Like you ever meet somebody where you tell them, hey, you have to let that go. You have to forgive them, or you don't even know them, or you don't even know the whole situation. You have to let that hate go. And then they get upset with you. No, you don't understand this, that, the other. It's because they're tied to the hate. They're tied to that energy. And you can't, when people are like that and you notice it, you can't say anything to them. You can't even reason with them because they're so filled with the hate. I always tell people it's not even when I think about things of life like such as politics, I don't think of politics. I think it's good versus evil, you know, on both sides, whatever. It's good versus evil. It's very simple. I don't think of like, oh, red versus blue, blue versus they're all the same, but there is a difference between universal power of good versus evil. And we know what it looks like. And some people become so obsessed, like they're so caught up into things and they can't let it go. Even if you would ask them, like, let it go. How was your day? You know, someone tries to, how was your day? They get upset that you're even asking them how their day is. You just don't, you don't, like they're like a mind virus. They're obsessed with, you don't understand. Let it go. Let it go so you could let it go so you could be free yourself. And you could have the blessings come to you. If not, it's just going to take a hold of you and you're not open to the blessings. There's been so many times in life where I'll try to tell people that they're broke and that the good thing is not happening to them, or like there's people who, you ever meet people who always get sick? They're always sick because their mind is like they let things control them and they just like let it go. Forgive and let go so the energy could flow, like you have no ties to it. Like it's a selfish act for your own peace. Harboring hatred, it drains your energy. Yes, exactly. Forgiveness breaks soul contracts. That's the reason why, like, forgive. You don't have to forget. You don't have to forget at all. That's my thing. I don't forget. Hey, I don't forget the kid that stole my graham crackers in the first grade. All right. Me and him, we still got a problem. But I forgive him so I can like let it go. I'm not attached to them. I'm not attached to people. I'm not attached to them because I forgive. And then also things are it's situation, like it's a circumstance where it's like, for example, say someone cuts me off on the freeway or whatever. Someone else who's already controlled by the energy of good versus evil, someone else will be like, oh, I'm so upset with them. I can't help it. Right? Like, it's just like, what's wrong with you? Like, you need to let the flow, forgive. Me, in my mindset, I'm thinking that I say to myself, or I pray to God, I go, I hope that they can make it to wherever appointment that they're in a rush to. I hope that they're able to go to wherever they're supposed to go. You know, I'm not going to be held up into that. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not attached to that. I'm not going to have that vampire onto my energy. I'm done with this painting. But hate is more powerful than love. So it's easy for other people to act like, some people try to act like they're sanctimonious. And really it's just, they get hijacked into the hate so easily. And we all know these type of people in our lives. Shoot, we all know people in our lives that go to church every single Sunday, and these are the people who are who could get the most triggered by hate and who were the hardest to forgive. Or the hardest to forgive someone. All right, and I'm done with this painting. Boom. What do you think? How is she? Isn't she great? She's beautiful, right? She's lovely. On to the next painting. And then I think I got like one more in me. Maybe. Actually, I don't. I don't have another one in me. Maybe I do. I got a meeting in 10 minutes. Maybe I'll do a 14 by 11. I'll do a 14 by 11 real quick for you. The next one is that you have to nurture your brain Your brain is irreplaceable asset. So synthetic foods, it feeds the parasite. So remember we talk about parasite of energy parasites. These parasites, they feed off of um, synthetic food. You have to take care of your body. That's why when we talk about exercise and we talk about certain foods, don't eat certain foods. We know what they are. And then we got into such a point where it's like, it's so weird, right? We got into such a point of tribalism where for years, we know fast food is bad. For years, we know that soda is bad. For years, we know that processed food and chips are bad. For years, we know that these foods cause cancer. But all of a sudden, if there's a political party or something that says that these foods are bad and that they're cancer and that they're harming us, then all of a sudden it's like, that's not true. Like we have to get away from that type of stuff. That's the parasite right there that's also eating your energy. That's crazy. Like we all know we have an obesity problem, but then all of a sudden it's bad to say that we have an obesity problem. We have to get away from that because it's deeper than that. It's about mind clarity. These are the flows that come to you. We have a pineal gland inside of us, which is our third eye, and it gets calcified by the things that we consume, such as chips, such as fluoride water, such as different things. And we know this. We have a high rate of cancer. We know this. But if we say it or, oh, it's the wrong messenger who's saying that our food and stuff is bad. So now I'm going to eat more junk food. Like, we have to get away from that. Because the wealthy doesn't think about that. If you see how the wealthy eats, they don't eat like how you eat. You eat slop. They don't. Because they understand the energy. They understand the energy of the food. They also understand what's in it. They stay away from it. If you're ever around wealthy people, trust me, they don't eat your slop. They went and do it. And they don't even tell their kids to consume it either. Alkaline body works better. Exactly. Alkaline. Yeah, exactly. The tribalism over truth. That's how people act. Someone said here, as much as I'm vibing with you, I beg to differ. In my opinion, love is more powerful than hate. God is love. God is unconditional love. That's very true. But when it comes to humans, humans latch on to hate more than love. God is unconditional love. That's true, but not every human has that. And I'm pretty sure you can know that if you live life long enough as well too. We can all know that, you know, people in our own lives. I mean, that's just the world in general. Have you ever seen how people you think in our world if there was if that was true, then more humans would be latched on to love and more humans are latched on to like they rather feel. That's why it's like, for example, if you do even a YouTube video or if you do a title, people latch on to if you have a title that says something bad happened, this happened to me, I lost all my money, this happened or whatever, they latch on to the negativity. People want to see the negativity in your life of anything more than they want to see something good happens to you. If it was that way, then we would be in a world of such prosperity. But people latch on to the negativity more than anything. That's why media sells. There's a psychology of it is the negativity sells by over 300%. It's just how the brain works. Unfortunate. I wish it was that way because we all do just need to love each other. All right, I'm gonna do a polar bear real quick. I got like 5 minutes, so let me try to knock this out in 5 minutes for you. I agree. However, humans have the potential to embody that love. Yeah, we have a lot of potential. We have a lot of potential for sure. But I don't know if you came late to the stream. I was also saying earlier, humans also have the potential to kill somebody, even though we're not killers, right? Like, I'm not a killer, I'm not a murderer, neither are you. Well, hope not. I don't know who you are. But we all have the potential where we can actually kill somebody. We could get into the car today, right? And then it's unintentional that we actually hit someone with our car, and then that's manslaughter. There's a thing called blackout rage, where someone could be in a situation, they're having a nervous breakdown or they're having a midlife crisis, and then they can actually black out and kill their whole family. And we see it all the time. Not saying that we do but these are potentials. Yes, 717 Best says it best. Cognitive dissonance kicks in when you contradict their beliefs. They must defend the way that they act. Exactly. So that's why I always talk about, too, when it comes to situations like that or people that we know like that, that's in our lives, the best way to handle that is not participate at all. And then they won't fight it as hard. A lot of times people are more stubborn because they feel like they want to fight you or they want to be right. Humans always want to be right. Humans want to be right so bad. They want to be right so bad that they'll be wrong. They'll be wrong and they're right, just so that way you're not right and they can be right. The best way you can do is just let it go and not try to fight it at all, whatever. And then God takes care of it, because that's my faith. God will take care of whatever the truth is supposed to be presented to you in your timing. It's not my timing. That's just my flesh, which is the sin. That's my flesh trying to get involved in what God's teaching is. Why am I trying to do God's work when he could do it better than I can? So I'm not going to get involved. That's just my ego trying to get involved by teaching you a lesson. I'm not going to teach you no lesson. There is no discussion. There is no debate. I'll let God take care of that. Crown Target says 5 Minute Fury, enjoying watching me squeeze out another candle. So I got to squeeze this out. I got to squeeze it out. I got to squeeze it. So the wealthy know that, and they teach their kids that unhealthy brain equals impossible to earn money. Okay. And there's a couple more lessons, but I think we really hit the gist of it so much. That's really the gist of it, of the universal lessons. Let me know in the comments below what you think about it. Even if you didn't comment this whole stream, let me know now what you think about those universal lessons. If you agree, if you disagree, then that's fine. Like I said, I'm not here to convince you otherwise of what the rich believe and what the wealthy, how they go with energy. I'm not here to say that you're right or wrong. Just something that you can say what you feel. Let me know. The last one, I guess I could say, is what we were talking about, is it's okay to engage with the superficial. It's okay to want materialistic things. Thank you again, Crown Target. Here, let me put a like on there. It's okay to experience material desires, to realize that they're not of essence. A lot of times, in order for you to get the things out of your system, I mean, we're human. A lot of times we have to get these certain things out of our system. And in order for us to get them out of our system, we have to go through that feeling of having. It's hard to tell a kid not to touch the stove if they don't know the stove is hot. How else are you going to know the stove is hot if you don't know? It's okay to experience these things. It's okay to experience things that God has placed here for us to experience. We don't always have to think of materialistic things or certain things of being secular. If we skip out on life's chapters, we create evolution gaps. So don't skip out on your chapters just because somebody else told you that's the righteous thing to do. You're not going to go to hell for skipping your chapters in experiencing things of life. The Lord has put these things for you. And so it's not all, I'm not supposed to have nice things. I'm not supposed to want. Then that's a lie. I mean, what else do we do these things for? Yes, okay, we can take care of our family. Eventually, there's going to be a point in time where your family gets older, or your kids are grown. And I mean, what about you? Most people regret in their life is that they didn't get to experience life. They're on their deathbed and they're like, I wish I didn't listen to these broke ass people around me and I could have actually done something for myself in my life. I could have lived my own life, even if it was right or wrong. I could have determined later on and told the story of where it was right or wrong at. But at least I went through the chapter of it. I'm people get so caught up into living their life for other people. 717 Best says Kevin Trudeau was talking about these things in his course. Your wish is your command. I listened to it so many times. It's so true. Your wish is your command. That's why another thing of what I was trained as well too is spelling, right? Spelling or spells. So if there's something particular that you want, then actually write it down on a piece of paper. Write it down on a piece of paper and you end up manifesting it because you wrote it down. And you'll come back to it months later, a year later, and you'll be like, whoa, these things that I actually wanted in detail, I actually received it. I actually got it. Like you'll look back and be like, I actually got these things of what I said I wanted. How crazy is that looking back on it that I actually received the thing that I pray to God right now that my appointment is watching this live stream right now. So know that I'm just a couple minutes late. I'm coming right now. I apologize. Unprofessional of me. I blame the stream. I blame you guys. But let's get this polar bear howl. Look, I didn't do 1,000 hours of the polar bear hairs either, right? It's just my impression of what the polar bear is, and it's beautiful. We don't have to do all of that, and someone is still going to love it and cherish it and buy it, if not faster and better than, and it's more colorful. I even put the red on there for like the Coca-Cola red or something, right? Let me turn the light on. All right. Let me add just a little bit of white to this, and then that's about it. But those are some gems right there. So yeah, please go back. This is a really great video. Um, a lot of gems that I dropped. These are things that you can figure out how to apply to your life, how to apply to your energy. So that way you could bring the energy back to yourself and to your business and to your art. These are things that they teach their kids, but they won't teach you. And why should they teach you it? I understand. Why should they teach you it? Most people aren't going to want to apply the lessons anyways. That's another thing about the wealthy. They know that most humans are lazy. You don't want it. So why even try? Why even act like they care? Why? Because it's the right thing to do. That's why. Okay. Keep thinking the world is that way. Boom. And we just did that in a quick 7 minutes or so. All right. Look at that. There's our polar bear right there. We don't have to do 1,000 hours of the polar bear hairs. All right. I do these, I knock them out. You see how quick I was able to do this painting? That's how quick I'm able to do paintings all the time when I'm not live streaming or if I'm just painting, right? And I'm just into the moment. We get it done. We get on to the next one. I'm not focused on whatever. I'll do 100 of these things and then it's all one project. It's all one beautiful thing. And you can too. Look at that. That's beautiful. There's our polar bear right there. Exquisite. I like my polar bears to be colorful, all right? We still know what it's a polar bear. Ugh. All right. I appreciate you guys for being here, for being tuned in. If you haven't already, please leave a like in the video. Lets YouTube know that we're doing God's work. Also, leave a super chat if you haven't already. That really goes a long way. It helps me. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. I understand. You can also join the elite community that's pinned to the page, is pinned to the top. You can check us out in the community. Real cool people. Most of the people that are already in here. And you can learn how you can do this for yourself. You can start making sales as early as next week. Bring in some of this capital, that positive wealth energy into yourself and your life. Take care of your family. There's no live stream tomorrow. We do this Monday through Thursday. I appreciate you being here. Have a good weekend. Make sure that you're productive. Earn your freedom. Take some of those life lessons of what we talked about today and apply it to your life. Figure out how you could apply it to your life. And that's really a cool thing. So I think we had a great conversation today. I really appreciate it again. And I'm going to check you out either on the Elite. We have a Q&A this Sunday. So I'm going to make sure I have the question form. So you can drop whatever questions that you have. And then I'll see you Monday. All right. Have a good weekend. Be safe. I love you guys.